Hi, I'm Darcy Justin. Welcome to Love Your Midlife. If this is the first video, if you're coming back, then welcome back to Love Your Midlife. I'm so glad you're here. And we do all kinds of inspirational and fun videos on how we can love our midlife a little bit more. Today, I'm going to share with you why I love being 60. I know, I thought I would never say that. First of all, I never thought I would be this old. And then second of all, I never thought that I would really enjoy being this old. I can remember when I was in my 30s and somebody would say that they were in their 60s and I was like, "Oh my gosh, isn't that old?" But I guess it's really not. So if you enjoy the videos, subscribe. If you like the video, please hit like. And we also have some other playlists. We have meditation and we have a 30-day body image challenge. So you can also check out some of the other videos. I never actually thought I would be as old as 60. Isn't that funny? But now that women are having babies in their 40s, I guess 40s are like the new 30s. And then 50s are like the new 40s, and 60s are kind of like the new 50s. So it sounds kind of odd to be 60 and say, "Oh, I'm in my midlife," but actually I am. And there are different stages of midlife. There's 40s, 50s, 60s. And I think that it's really important to remember that so many of us are in these different stages and we have different things going on. So if you are sort of in the middle of that stage or towards the end, if you're in your 60s, it is a really fun time. And I know there's a lot of women struggling out there with being alone or being divorced, or there are a lot of things that can happen to us later in life. But I want to just mention some of the really fun things that can happen in your 60s. And these are all things that happened to me that I really never really thought about. I never really um, put that much time into it, but I'm happy to say that I love these things. So I'm not really working full time. I kind of make up my own days and my own hours. And I think a lot of women can when they're in their 60s. So I love that. That's definitely number one. I have about 10 things that I want to share. We have a lot more control over our time, whether we're retired, we sold a business, whatever's going on in your life. That's one thing that I absolutely love. I can kind of get up when I want to get up. I do get up and motivate myself to have a good morning routine. But I do love the fact that I'm not under the gun of the time clock all the time that you are when you have to pick your kids up at a certain time, or you have to drop them off at this practice or that practice. And so being in your 60s is kind of fun because you're a little bit more in control of your time and how your time goes and how you get to spend your time. And I kind of like it. I'm not going to lie. I think it's kind of awesome. So, um, the other thing that's kind of funny about being in your 60s is you really don't have the day-to-day care of your kids anymore. I just want to say it's kind of nice. Now, definitely I went through the empty nest syndrome. I did have 6 children. My last one just went off to college 3 years ago. And I did have the empty nest syndrome. I commiserated with other women whose children went off and left the nest. But I do enjoy my children now in a whole new way. And I love my grandchildren, but I don't have the day-to-day stress of figuring out, are they eating the right things? Are they doing the homework? Are they doing this? Are they doing that? I raised them, I gave them love and kindness and helped them to be responsible adults. And I can really enjoy watching them live their lives. And that's actually super fun. And it's something really to look forward to. The other thing that I think is really neat about in your 60s is you really get to kind of choose what you want to do. Some women are still working and some women are still at jobs, and I totally get that. But for a lot of women, and this happened for me, I was able to switch careers and become a life coach and have basically my dream job. So it is a time for a lot of people when we can really take note of really what we may want to be doing moving forward. In retirement, maybe it's write a book, maybe it's get out and be a mentor to other women, maybe it's doing absolutely nothing. Maybe I have a friend that's getting ready to retire, and I said, "What are you going to do when you retire?" And she said, "Absolutely nothing." She said, "I've worked all these years." She supported her family, and she's so looking to doing retirement and doing nothing. That's not exactly what I wanted. I wanted at least one more thing to do, and so I love what I'm doing now. The other thing I love about being in your 60s is you have a little bit more time, since you're not cleaning all the time and folding laundry at 10 o'clock at night and all of these things you do when you're raising your children and your family. It's kind of fun. You can actually have more time for some hobbies. Maybe you love knitting or sewing, or for me, it's gardening. I love to garden. I love to be out into my yard. I love to buy new plants and see whether or not they're going to make it. Hopefully, they're going to make it. But I do bring them in and I put them in the driveway and I say, okay, you're on your own, because I have a big property. We live on a small farm. I can't always watch over you. So I really do hope that you make it, little Mr. Plant. So that's really fun about being in your 60s. The other thing that's really fun is that you really can get away with saying a few things that you couldn't say a few years ago. So normally when you say something that's either funny or inappropriate, or maybe it's something that you just wouldn't have said, like the truth just comes spilling out of your mouth the older you get. You can't help it. You're just like, I can't believe you wore that sweater. Oh, that is not your friend. That sweater is not your friend. So I love that. I love that we can be a little bit more truthful. We can put it out there, and people either think you're funny, they might think you're a little crazy. Who cares? They might think that, wow, that's cool. She's really getting down with her honest self. I love that. So I actually say a few things that I think I wouldn't used to say, and feels really good. I'm not gonna lie. Um, so you get to kind of travel more, which is really nice. You can kind of look at the world and see what you want to do. For a lot of us, we have a little bit more time. Sometimes you have more money, sometimes you don't, but you can always kind of put a little bit of travel in there. And whether you're single or married, it's a really good time. You don't have all the same responsibilities. It's a good time to get out and do a little bit more travel. The other thing I love is I just have a greater understanding of the world and what's going on around me. When I was in my 20s, I was very, very caught up in taking care of everybody else. And I love it now that my whole life has come full circle, and all the love that I have put out, I'm filled with, the world around me is filled with. And so it's really, really nice to sit back into a really deep understanding of who I am as a person and the world around me and what's important to me. And we get to just take notes of that, right? We get to come up with a bucket list and what are the things I want to get done? What are the things I want to change? You just obviously have a little bit of extra time now to really think about these things. And before, a lot of us were not able to do that. So I love that. I love having being able to make up my own schedule, whether it's during the day or during the week, prioritizing how I spend my time. Those are all things that I wasn't able to do before. I was always under the gun. I was always on somebody else's clock. I was always with somebody else on somebody else's time. So I think those are just a few things that I love about being 60. I love wearing my hair the way I want to wear my hair. I love dressing the way I want to dress. I used to be kind of intimidated. Oh, I don't know if I should wear that, or, I don't know if I should wear my hair like that. And now I just don't care. I always thought when I was in my 60s, I would cut my hair and I would do all of these different things, and that would make me feel better. And it's actually just the opposite. I love wearing my hair long, makes me feel really good. I love wearing certain things that make me feel really good. And that's just all part, I think, of having this openness at this time in your life and this ability to really embrace the things that you really want to embrace. So I love all of that. I love the fact that you get to have more hobbies. I love the fact that you can kind of dress however you want to dress, wear your hair. You don't have to compare yourself to others. You just really don't care. It's really great. You're just kind of like, "Mm, I'm just going to be doing my own thing from here on out." You get to love your children and be with your children, but you don't have the day-to-day responsibility anymore. All kinds of things can come out of your mouth, and they're all funny and they're all true and honest. And so a lot of people really appreciate that. You get to travel a little bit more. All of these years have given you wrinkles and wisdom and all of these fine things that you can embrace and be really proud of and really happy about. I hope that if you are in your 60s, you are loving your 60s, you are enjoying your 60s, and knowing that this really is a fantastic time of your life. I'm actually having just as much fun now as I had in my 50s. I'm still feeling great. I'm still taking care of myself all the time so I can move into my 70s and feel the same way. So I hope you'll come up with some things that you want to change about what's going on in your life now. So you have the schedule and you have the ability to do some of the things that you want to do. And I am so glad that you were with me here today on Love Your Midlife. Subscribe to the channel, and I will see you next time. Bye, loves.